universe. What is going on in the universe? There has certainly been some major timeline shifts or timeline edits or changes in the cosmic timeline, no matter which way you look at it. I fully have witnessed this happening. There's been, in the last 5 days, so many quantum jumps and shifts within reality. I have seen it personally, and I would love it if you would share any experiences that you have had personally in the comment section, because this is not only me who's had these experiences, but it is also my father that had some of these experiences. A friend, she is bringing out an upcoming report that I will read here about major timeline edits that have just taken place. Now, before I even read that she had an update coming up, I had already witnessed myself 3 or 4 huge weird timeline edits going on within the timelines, not to mention all the, you know, dead people that are suddenly dying again. You know, they call them time shift living dead people. Oh, well, Starfire Tour does. So lots of weird things have been happening. Call it the Mandela effect. Some call it the Mandela effect. So let's cut to the chase, shall we? What's been going on? Well, number one, there was an increase in my life and many of my friends' lives, and please let me know if you agree, if this happened to you, of suddenly seeing repeating numbers over and over and over again. It's getting ridiculous. And 222 and 444. I've literally been seeing these over and over again, like just massively. It was certainly strange. And then my friend, whose name I shall, I'll just call him R. I'll just call my friend R. It's a male friend. He contacted me on Facebook, and he told me that he was like blown away. He's never really experienced the Mandela effect or the timeline shifts personally, and this kind of blew his mind. Like all day he couldn't stop thinking about it and wondering like what the hell was going on. And I'm sure a lot of you guys at home that sort of know about the Mandela effect have also gone through those days, like when you first realised it for the first time and then started, you know, Googling it to see like, am I crazy? Am I the only person that's experiencing these things? And then you were like, oh my God, there's like a whole thing on the internet about this, right? It may seem just, you know, very tiny to some people, but, you know, we really notice these things, and I think we're supposed to notice them. That's why, you know, we do. And it seems to have such a big impact on us, because the ones that aren't awake, that would happen and they wouldn't, it would just mean nothing. They would just shrug it off. They'd just go, oh, you know, and it wouldn't mean anything. But to my friend who's awakened, you know, it really meant something. So, yeah, so he wrote to me about it, like, well, what the hell is going on? This is doing my noodling, you know, this blah, 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 this thing happened. I don't know who else to talk to about it other than you, because I know you're going to understand where I'm coming from. So he told me, bless him, his whole little story. And yeah, and as this was happening to him, he started seeing lots and lots of numbers. Like, as we were talking about it, all the numbers kept coming up. Like, he starts talking to me about it and he realises it's 1:11, so it's 111. That morning I'd been talking to my friend about how much I've seen 111 a lot, and she posted something on my Facebook page that was called Issue 111, and we talked about the Trinity just before that conversation. And then as I answered him later in the conversation, he took a screenshot. I'd answered him and read the mail at 2222, because like I'd gone out, this was later in the day, we carried on the conversation. So like there was just all of these numbers, and meanwhile I'm going to my email box to check, and it's like 33 unread messages, you know, and it was just going like this like the whole day. It was really, really freaky.
In the UK, oh dear, I need to apologise for the people that are going through the Mandela effect. I did research. I have researched it a lot of times. I just didn't. I suppose I didn't want to believe it, yeah, because it hasn't happened to me personally. But there was somebody left me a message, because I don't want to upset people. I just want to try and educate. And obviously I wasn't educated enough myself to be able to answer their questions. I come across the easy escape, if you like. I was talking about films and how easy it would for them to be spliced and diced and stuff that we see on telly that changes and signs, things like that. Somebody said to me about a book. How comes that a book then that has changed and it's been in my possession for 30 years? It was only then that I looked at my King James Bible. And anyway, I was shocked to see that the lion no longer exists. It's the wolf that lies with the lamb. I strongly remember the lion and the lamb. I remember seeing pictures of the lion and the lamb. I remember people talking about it, you know, when I was young and things like that. And it's not just that. People were saying about, you know, boxes changing and moving and things like this. The only explanation that I've got, we all go on different vibrations. We all resonate at different vibrations, and not just us. Everything that grows, that's alive, everything that its heart beats or it grows or it's alive, like grass, like flowers, like anything that lives, it resonates. Now this is what I was saying about this book. Look, I'm just going to show you something. Excuse the view you might have got there, but this is the book. Now, this is the book that I said that I was going to read, and I am going to read it, alright? Like I said, I just want a few more subscribers before I do, because it might end my channel. I don't know what's going to happen, because I might upset a few people by doing this. Okay, so anyway, firstly and mostly, this video is just about me apologising to the people that are suffering from the Mandela effect, that are suffering from the Mandela effect and are going through bad times. So I do apologise for that. Like I say again, once again, I apologise for these poor people that are going through such turmoil and distress, really. It must be horrible for your family not to even recognise you, or you to not recognise them. I can only apologise for that, apologise for my ignorance. I have looked into it more, and I want to find the actual means of this. A lot of people say CERN, you know, are able to shoot out so much electricity that it changes the vibrations, which will then take us crossing into parallel universes. I looked into Tesla's stuff with the parallel universes that he spoke about, and he said he got to I think it was 12 or something, and when he started to get into that, it was getting too bright, he could not see. It was just too bright, he couldn't see. So and then you've got people talking Michio Kaku. He talks about parallel universes as well. So you know, we've got people of old that are very intelligent talking about parallel universes. Like I was saying, we've got people of new that, like Michio Kaku and people like that are very, very intelligent people. They do have, they're letting out a little bit of truth, not all of it. So I apologise for that. I just didn't think it was possible. I had to get some tangible proof, you know, to realise, and some of the comments left made me open my eyes. So thank you for that. I'm sorry if I upset you. Please forgive me for that, because that's not my intent. My intent is just to give out truth, and as much truth as possible.
And intellectually I knew it, but in reality, my whole blood and guts and soul and everything, I wasn't getting it. And all of a sudden, I got it. And it affected me so much that it was so powerful, this experience, that I couldn't talk for 2 days. I'm not saying I shut down, but there was so much processing that needed to happen inside my body, inside my mind, that I just couldn't muster up a conversation for 2 days. And fortunately, my wife is very intuitive, and she could see that, I've had a big shift, and, she just kind of left me alone for a couple of days. And I managed to get through. I don't know what I was doing, whatever work I was doing at the time. But so that was amazing. As soon as you've had that separation from it, you can never go back to being completely plugged in. Okay, firstly I want to just thank all the people that commented on my last video, the one about the Berenstain Bears. It's been really surprising to me how much people are into this, how big this whole Mandela effect thing is, and I've been really, really amazed at people's comments, and I thank you so much. So I watched a video maybe 2 or 3 days ago of a young American guy who has discovered the Mandela effect, as many of us have. And in particular, he was talking about Bible passages, and the one about how the lion lays down with the lamb now says the wolf lays down with the lamb, if that's correct. I think that's correct. And anyway, him being very excited about it, he decides he wants to ask a couple of people from his church who he knows that they know that those passages extremely well. They've been reading them over and over and over for years, so they ought to know them. And he goes to these two people, and the reaction that he gets from them is not pleasant from his perspective. He's really excited about it, and his mind's blown kind of thing, like mine is, and they're actually quite dismissive and a little rude. So he's asking the audience, me, I suppose, what's with the attitude? Why are people like this? And look, I've had similar things too. Like, it maybe not exactly, certainly not the same thing, but I haven't always had the reaction that I have had from coming across this new information. So what I'm here to talk about is the ego, because I believe what has happened to that guy is he's bumped into somebody's ego. Now, if you imagine the ego as a big chain link fence or cyclone fence surrounding, obviously in your mind, but imagine just surrounding you, and everything that you know and everything that you believe to be true and false are all inside that fence. So everything that everything that you know, it's all in there. And so, but the other thing about that fence is it's actually electrocuted. Not badly, not enough to kill you, but enough to make it unpleasant to touch that fence, right? So so what's happened is this guy's come up to the, he's been excited, and he's gone to tell this person, and he's drawn that person to the edge of their fence. And now what's happening is both of them are getting electrocuted. The guy who owns the fence is getting electrocuted, so this is unpleasant for him, and he wants to retreat back into where he knows and what makes sense to him. And the guy who's telling him is also getting electrocuted and wondering, why is this so painful? I've got a really awesome story. Why don't you want to listen to me? This is weird. So, okay, now this is what I think, and, certainly disagree if you will. I think that the Matrix, as an analogy, is like a giant computer. And, this is not a new idea. And not only is it a giant computer, it's also got a very extensive computer program. Now, your ego, our egos, are actually our program that allows us to function inside the matrix. And if you don't have the ego, you can't function in there. It's like trying to get on a computer without actually having any running programs. You know what I mean? It doesn't work. You just can't get in. So so let's take Mary Lou as an example. So Mary Lou, she has an amazing, expansive experience. You know, it can be whatever you imagine, right? So Mary Lou, she has an ego, right? And she hasn't broken from her ego, and she's had this amazing, expansive experience, maybe a bit like mine, and then all of a sudden, you know, she's had her mind's been blown to some degree, and she's kind of off in the clouds and feeling amazing. And of course, in that expansion, she feels great. She wants to tell people about this. And so, but what she doesn't realize is that the ego is so sneaky and manipulative that the ego says, in some form, hey, I noticed you've had an expansive experience, you know, come on back, you know, and bring your friend too. So you know, and then said, bring, you know, you've had this amazing experience, you know, come back inside the fence where it's safe, and you can put this expansive experience in here with all the other things that you know. And so then all of a sudden, Mary Lou doesn't quite realize this has happened. There's a very distinct change in energy, is that she goes to talk to this person, right, about her amazing experience, but she's talking to another person who's not in the same space as she is. But now all of a sudden, rather than coming from the space of expansiveness, she's actually coming from a sort of a needy space. And so she is trying to now convince this person on some level about her experience that she's had, which doesn't fit inside this other person's fence, right? So it's completely different. So the problem with Mary Lou is that she hasn't actually had a separation from ego. She's had an expansive experience. So I actually had that separation from ego. I'm forgetting how many years ago it is now, but I think it's about 6 or 7 years ago. And I was doing this workshop. I wasn't running the workshop. I was a participant in the workshop. And look, I'd read Eckhart Tolle's stuff, and I'd heard it 1,000 times, and all kinds of stuff about ego and all that sort of stuff, right? And so it's easier to realize, oh, I'm in ego again, you know. So I certainly do drop in and out of it all the time, but you can laugh about it. Whereas before that happened, I didn't even know I had an ego because I didn't know what one was, and that's the problem. And that's what I think people are hitting here, is that they're trying to tell these amazing stories of Mandela effect to people, and they're hitting brick walls. And it's like, where's the logic, dude? You know, like I'm showing you something that's just, I don't know how you can dispute it, but they are, you know. So I think that you know, us weird, freaky people who are telling these stories to people and getting all kinds of strange reactions, we, I think, are helping to wake up some people who maybe are not quite as awake as we are. You know, there's maybe many more levels to wake up. But if we can do it without our egos, then automatically you do it in a compassionate way and in a loving way, because the ego is not compassionate and is not loving. And I don't believe you can be in both at once. I don't believe that it's possible to be in your head, in your ego, and also be a loving, compassionate person. I believe you can pretend to be, but you're not actually. So, but as soon as you realize that you're doing that, then you can't be in it anymore. So you can't have both at once.
from what I call from recall, from this last year with Mandela effect and awakening and people I met online. It's very interesting. Kinda it is. Because in the past, I don't know, 6-7 years, I was almost alone, like feeling I was getting crazy, you know, in so many ways. And I finally got here in this realm, you know. It's a place with a lot of technology. I don't know if you see that, but 80% of humanity, let me say it, 80%, are living like in the 17th century. A few are living like in present moment, but there are a few that are way away from the future. Sorry, my English, I'm Romanian. I use this language because it's a common one. I see a few people speaking about dreams. I see a few people talking about Bible changing, Armageddon stuff. I don't know. I feel like everything is about your potential. How your mind sees everything. What you need to learn. What you need to observe. Usually in dreams, my dreams at least, I've been in a lot of scripts. Alien invasions, a fucking veil, black veil coming from the sky. At one time, like 5 moons popping in the night all over the place, and people getting scared, running all the places. I was in some streets, but in most of my dreams I can fly, I can do any kind of things. Can use my hands, you know, to heal people, like burning hands, but with a fire that don't burn everyone. Kinda I live in a world right now with a huge tech. I understand the part with NPC. But usually I think of them, they are part of me, you know, it's a mini-verse inside me. What I eat, what I do, how my emotions are. Usually get outside. Sometimes you can be hacked from outside. I feel that. But I don't know. I understood I live in a world of like Matrix. It's not like Matrix, but because it's very real. With NPC and stuff like that. It was about like 20 years ago. I was watching an old man, like grandfather. He actually looked like my grandfather, but my grandfather passed away earlier. I've seen a lot of people suicided, you know. I see a lot of people frightened. I saw. I was standing still, you know, and watching everything like a fucking cartoon movie. I was a fucking cartoon at one moment. You know, I spread the news with the original people. I like to call them original people because I felt they were original, the awakened ones, and some that are waking up right now. And told about, I don't know, I kind of like some people online, like from Mandela. I like the life metrics because it's open at everything, because I feel like all the truths are the truth, are part of the fucking puzzle. It's it's like you can be a fucking Buddha and say fuck, you know, it's no importance. It's you understand your darker part and the light from inside you. Maybe you need to choose. Like Lone Eagles knows everything about the old earth, like I used to know. It's like, okay, what if every script already played and we are here? We are already in the second earth. But a few are running on the script of fear, and others are running on the script of love. That give us time, like fucking horrors care about us. We can become immortals, or I think with every sentence we make and every step we keep moving forward, unveiling or a fucking event. And I feel they are not NPCs. Two guys in front of the car watching me. That's hilarious. Okay, maybe I'll do another video soon. Have an amazing day. Peace, much love.